St Albans Secondary College is a pretty big school.
It's located in St Albans, a suburb in Melbourne, Australia.
It has a great environment around it. Everybody here is supportive.
It's a very multicultural school with a whole bunch of events to offer, programs that students can undertake regarding leadership.
They really encourage you to be what you want, and they help you with your subject choices, and they help you try and achieve your goals.
And it's fairly enjoyable to come here.
The numeracy work began probably about 8 or 9 years ago. We, with other secondary schools in the area, formed a network of schools committed to numeracy improvement.
I pretty much hated going to maths because I knew that I wouldn't really understand anything. But now after, when I go into a maths room, it's just normal, it's another subject that I know that I'm going to learn something today and it's going to stick with me.
We worked with a consultant, at that time it was Chris Coombs, and with coaches in our schools. We started with a volunteer group with the numeracy work, and over time that momentum built. But in the end it became something that everybody was doing. As we began to build the expertise of staff, we were committed to people learning in teams.
To have that structured, timetabled, non-negotiable time that was set aside, and in a schooling environment it's hard to get that. Even when you get a free period, that's often ripped away because you're doing a planning session or you're catching up with the student or you're doing something like that.
So what we decided to do with some of our equity money was to provide people with some time release, face-to-face time release, 1 session a week, in order to meet together in small teams.
Our full load here is 23 periods, and each period is 50 minutes each. And so part of being in the numeracy team means that our numeracy meeting is actually part of our working load. So we're not having to meet extra and do extra meetings throughout a week. So we meet once a week to come together and collaborate.
Question 5 of the geometry section.
Okay.
What percentage of your class do you think will be able to get that right?
20? 25? Because I know this is a question on similarity.
Yep.
They're going to confuse this with Pythagoras.
Sure.
And I think that they're going to start with Pythagoras.
As a numeracy team, we sit there, we go through the pre-test, post-test results, and for the next topic we look at it and say, okay, what are we going to tweak? What are we going to change? What are we going to do slightly differently? Now, whether that be the basic lesson structure, whether that be a heavier reflection aspect, whether it be a heavier literacy focus for these 3 to 4 weeks, some things may work, some things may not work. But I think you never evolve, I don't think, and most teachers say the same thing, you never evolve unless you're trying these new strategies.
Proportionality of the gradients. The only thing I'm actually missing is a question on midpoint of a line.
Okay, but I know you're going to say the same thing, aren't you?
Yeah. We did assess that in the test, and we had a longer question on it as well in the test. So I think out of the 9 criteria, we've got 8 of them. I don't think we need to add this in again.
There's a lot of trust, I suppose, in us and what we do, in that we as a team can figure out what we need to focus on and what's in the best interests of our students at that period of time.
It wasn't very direct in instruction on what exactly had to occur. It was more, use this time how best effectively you think you can use it to better your students' learning.
It makes sure that when we come together, we are focusing on what our kids need, whereas if we were given set topics, it might not always give us the best outcome for them at that time.
Whenever the whole faculty meets together, jobs and work is assigned on a numeracy team per basis and professional learning team basis. So there's a recognition that at all junior levels 7, 8 and 9 that if we need to achieve something, it's, well, we can assign it through the teams and it gets done and it gets brought back to the faculty, and everyone, even the senior maths teachers, are aware of that. That's how we're working at junior school, and it works fine.
The key learning area leaders have increasingly been the instructional leaders. They have provided enormous support for their staff. They have supported collaborative work between teachers.
The numeracy team has provided me with a scope and support structure for me to try new things within my classroom. And if I do try something, first I can bounce the idea off the group, get a general idea if it is going to be effective, if they've tried it before as professional teachers. If not, then we can try it. And if it doesn't work, a big thing is that I just don't throw it away. I get to come back to the group, report on what happened, and then we can hopefully actually try and fix whatever went wrong with my learning activity and have something better for next time. And then we can try as a group as well. It's not just occurring in one classroom. We're getting to innovate and try across multiple classrooms at the same time.
We all doing the same task at the same time, and we create the same marking scheme for the topic test or even the assessment task.
Something that I suppose we've worked really hard on this year is making developmental rubrics. Students are given a rubric and they're able to grade themselves on where they think they're at.
How much they've got for prior knowledge and how much they've learned after they're doing the rubric throughout that units of work.
And we've collected some feedback on whether or not they think that that's a good learning tool for them. It's given us an opportunity to come together and actually talk about, okay, these are the things, these are the strategies that we're using. What do the students actually think of those? Is this actually working for them? And if it isn't, then we need to change something. And if it is, how can we make it better?
Having students reflect on what they've learnt through a class as part of the St Albans learning cycle has given them greater security in assessing themselves, and it gives us greater feedback on whether the students have what they have learnt and what they haven't learnt.
It also opens up that discussion for, okay, maybe we're not where we need to be, but what can we do to get there? And sometimes I think that's the conversation that can be missed.
You know, what I found is really useful and value for as a teachers, where the time that we all the Year 9 teachers get together, so we can actually sit down and we're talking about data, the student data, NAPLAN data, on-demand testing data, all sort of things. We also get together at that time to talk about the topic test.
We are incredibly fortunate to have a dedicated and really highly skilled staff who are committed to that improvement for each student. We also have students who do have very high expectations for their learning and for their pathways beyond the school. So there is that culture that exists here, and we're really proud of that culture.